Hello and welcome back, everyone, to session 6 of our NAMIC Fastpitch session for today. Next one, I've been particularly excited to hear from. I've known Ben Zimmerman through the industry networking for quite some time, and the work that he's been doing with Opterrix is quite interesting. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So Opterrix is an award-winning proactive risk management platform that empowers insurers to proactively identify, quantify, and mitigate avoidable losses. So designed by insurers for insurers, Opterrix leverages the latest advancements in technology, meteorology, data science, and cloud computing to really reshape costly accumulations, fortify underwriting, monitor perils, protect policyholders, optimize claim workflows. You should also give Ben a follow on LinkedIn. Anytime there's a store coming in, he will post on LinkedIn and give you a heads up as well. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ben Zimmerman for an update from Opterrix.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Appreciate the introduction. Thanks to Jen and everyone at NAMIC for giving us the opportunity to speak. So as Jason said, my name is Ben Zimmerman, CEO of Opterrix. I've spent the last 25 years of my career focused on weather-sensitive industries in building analytics platforms for a number of industries, for media, for renewable energy, public safety, and the last 7 years or so I've been focused on insurtech, and really excited to walk you through Opterrix and how we help the insurance industry implement proactive risk intelligence workflows. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on slides, but I want to spend a majority of my time actually walking through a live presentation of our platform. But as a meteorologist, I feel like the work we're doing is incredibly important. As most people know, changing weather is driving substantial losses. If you just look back in the last couple of years, we've had record hurricane activity, record wildfire. I'm an Iowan. The derecho that went through Iowa in 2020 is the largest single convective event to occur in U.S. history. A Texas winter storm. In December, we had the longest tornado track in history. I guess my point is, what used to be long tail events are becoming much more of the norm. And if that's the case, the insurance industry should be very concerned. This report came out earlier this year, measuring billion-dollar disaster events, and 5 of the top 6 billion-dollar disaster event count years have all occurred since 2016. So the time is now when it comes to tools to help you analyze what's happened in the past, what can happen in the future. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. So Opterrix is really a platform that came out of an innovation group within a large mutual carrier that I happened to be a vendor for. I ended up consulting for them for a couple of years, and we ultimately spun this technology out in 2020, just 3 weeks before a global pandemic. But regardless, we've still added 60 carriers just in the last year and a half, and really excited to walk through what Opterrix does. So in a nutshell, Opterrix is a massive computing brain that really specializes in spatial analytics. And there's a number of use cases in which geospatial or mapping is essential. One of the first things we're going to talk about, and I'll walk through this, is accumulation monitoring. So when it comes to changing weather patterns, it's true we can't control the weather, but one thing that carriers can do proactively is manage aggregations of risk or accumulation. So what we're able to do is process massive amounts of information, and I'm talking like billions of records in real time. So not only your existing portfolio, but you can easily compare multiple years worth of your footprint. How it's used is to aggregate to either total insured value, net exposed limits, and really identify the pockets or the neighborhoods in which you may have too much risk in any given location. So I'll walk through how this capability works when we get to the live demo. Another thing that Opterrix is really great at and help with a proactive risk intelligence is automating the moratorium process. When I was spending time inside our first customer, I was a little bit surprised at how long it took to actually implement a moratorium. And having come from weather technology, I spent many years building products like at the Weather Channel. Processing data very quickly is just kind of, true to my heart. We measured our success in milliseconds. So with Opterrix, we are ingesting 30 perils in real time, everything from flooding tropical storm activity, hail activity. In this case, on the screen, you see wildfire activity. At the moment that the Opterrix system detects any change or new peril, it immediately identifies all key stakeholders. It can generate automated moratoriums, so those can be published into core administration systems, or we can stand up an API service for you in which your quoting or binding system actually hits our API. It can be completely automated, it can be completely manual, or we've got a hybrid approach in which we've got an intelligence review portal that'll walk you through. The main thing with moratoriums is if you can identify and prevent the binding of a risk that's going to turn into immediate loss, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars per policy. Continuing kind of the track of proactive underwriting, we've got over 200 years worth of weather technology and weather data experience on our team. We take tremendous pride in providing the best weather data available in the industry. That's everything from radar-derived algorithms to historic weather archives. We enable carriers, during the underwriting or renewal process to just enter an address-specific location, get a full detailed account of what has happened there. From an underwriting perspective, this is incredibly important, specifically around identifying locations that may have experienced a prior loss. So, of course, the last thing you want to do is bind a claim, is what they say. So what we help you do is identify if a property has had damaging hail, damaging wind. That can be used either to notify on-site inspection, or in the case that you're large enough that you're not sending an on-site inspector to, you certainly can use these insights to identify which properties you should be sending people to. So you can come into the portal for this information, but you also have the ability of just accessing all of this information through very customized APIs if you just need the data. From a claims management perspective, and this is truly my passion, I've been storm chasing since before it was cool, and oftentimes have been the first person into a community that's been devastated by tornadoes. I love helping carriers take care of their policyholders as quickly as possible. One thing we do from a proactive claims management perspective is provide you with a 24/7, 365 weather team. So Opterrix really acts like a team of meteorologists that are just staring at screens and data feeds all of the time. And at the moment any event occurs that is relevant to your portfolio, to your customer base, Opterrix will tell you. So you can come in, build notifications saying, like, if I'm interested anytime 300 of my properties are hit by 2-inch hail, you don't have to be staring at a monitor for that to happen. The system will actually tell you that. So a lot of really powerful proactive notification workflows that will help your team really stay on top of it. At the moment that an event occurs, and our goal is to help carriers get out in front of opportunistic storm chasers and public adjusters. We feel strongly that the carrier should be owning the conversation with the policyholder, not letting someone else take care of it. That's when loss adjustment expenses start going through the roof. Also, from a claims management perspective, Opterrix is, and I promise you this, it is the most powerful GIS and mapping platform in the industry. We take tremendous pride in providing street level analytics that are really going to help your claims teams understand what has happened. So outside of ingesting real-time claims data, so you get a play-by-play, war room dashboard, so to speak, we also leverage the power of machine learning to go back in time. So we evaluate your entire claims history. We evaluate the associated policies with those claims and the historic weather data, as well as a number of other environmental factors, including things like property attributes. And we build machine learning models that are designed to optimize claims predictions. So before your first FNOL ever even hits your system, we've already predicted and accurately how many claims are going to come from that event. So not only location and volume, but also severity. It's a great tool for loss reserving. It's a great tool for determining whether you're going to burn through your adjustment capacity internally. On the flip side, it's a great tool when you need to go into to the third-party adjusters and get them how many you're going to need, where you need to send them. We've had tremendous response and customer satisfaction with these tools, and I'll show you how that stuff works shortly. And then lastly, this is the last slide I want to talk about before I actually go into the demo. We've been able to take, and we actually built this at the Weather Channel many years ago, but we've been able to take this internal notification capability and turn it inside out. So marketing teams and customer engagement teams love leveraging weather events, and it doesn't have to be severe weather. This can be any type of weather event to contextually drive a conversation. So leveraging weather to communicate or engage with policyholders is a great way to really establish or reinforce your brand as a proactive protector. So we have customers that use it for proactive weather notification if there's severe weather expected. We've got customers that use it really like the first time that there's going to be a deep freeze to make sure that things like outdoor faucets are turned off for furnace maintenance. So the engagement has been significant. We've seen industry average 3 to 5% of people open emails from their insurer. When we follow up from severe weather activity, of course, with a headline like, "Hey, we think you may have been impacted," we've seen those numbers, those engagement rates go up to like 60%, which is awesome. So, of course, I want to show you how this whole thing works. Give me 2 seconds to just switch over to Opterrix, and I'd love to introduce you to the platform. Oh, I got to log in quick. So Opterrix, there's really 2 ways you can consume information inside of Opterrix. One is through this portal, which I'm going to walk you through here. And the other is that we built this platform on a full stack of microservices, meaning anything that you see me clicking on or doing inside of the application can also be accessed through a backend API call. So very quickly, just walking through the dashboard, there's a number of incredibly useful modules over in the navigation. We've got quick queries that can be set up for any type of contextual event. But really, to start this conversation, I want to just go into the GIS portion of this application. To understand why Opterrix is so special, I'm just going to load a portfolio just to give you a sense of the scale of this platform. So this is one of our customers' PIF files available in real time, and this is in real time, meaning as soon as a policy is bound, a new red dot shows up. The reason we are so performant, it's actually something we built at the Weather Channel, in which we were processing over 5 petabytes of data annually. What we do is we store this information in memcache, which is, I guess, just a technical way of saying everything is kept in memory. And when everything is kept in memory, I can ask it questions like, show me every $2 million home, and get answers very quickly. So we really pride ourselves in creating easy to use tools. You don't need to get a PhD in GIS technology to understand how to use this data. We make it very shareable. You can save configurations, you can download reports, but obviously staring at a ton of red dots isn't always the best use of a platform. So let me show you what we can do with those red dots. I'm going to take that exact same data file. So this is the entire exposure. I'm going to put it into a gridded system, and this is completely flexible. If you measure your performance by census block or by zip code, you can incorporate that polygon. But in this case, I'm just going to use this hexagon honeycomb. Every policy in here is something called the total value, and I'm going to tell it to add all of those up. So the results you're going to see here is your accumulation in real time. Typically this would take a broker or a reinsurer several hours, if not a couple of days, to calculate, and we're doing it quite literally in real time. So what this is suggesting for this carrier, they've got a little 3 mile by 3 mile neighborhood here with over $500 million of total insured value. And in some cases, that's perfectly palatable. In some cases, that's really bad. If you look back at, the Mayfield tornado or the derecho of 2020, sometimes having this much accumulation in one location can really impact financial performance. So like I mentioned before, the moratorium capability, this platform is always listening to weather events. Let me just pick wildfire, for example, which there's actually a fire burning right now. So the tunnel fire just north of Flagstaff, this guy right here, has been burning actively as of this morning, is only 20% contained. So I'm kind of walking you through the manual perspective of this, but we monitor this in real time, give users the ability to create intelligent buffers, or they can come in here and just manually, let me just start a selection. Let's say this is a little too close to Flagstaff, so I'm going to select Flagstaff. Once that's built, I can come in, choose a configuration. I'll just go with demo for now. I can put in details if I want. All of the information, including my exposure close to this fire, is calculated in real time, and I can manually submit this. Like I mentioned before, we've got a review portal. So we've got some customers that aren't totally comfortable with a fully automated process. They want to get feedback from, agents. In the case of like a captive agent business model, they want to get input from state directors. So we've set up an intelligent portal that actually gives them an hour. Well, it's customizable, but we will publish this. If by chance this is published at Saturday afternoon and people are out playing golf, if no one responds to it, it just gets implemented. So a lot of incredibly useful capabilities with that. The peril history. I've got the ability to come in. I'm just going to pick my address. I can choose any address. We'll go with Hillside Way, Verona. Let's let Google do its thing here. There's my house. I can pick any type of weather event. I'm going to tell it to, let's just do both wind and hail for this demo. And you can see how performant this is. So it's gone through a full history archive of location-specific information. Had a hailstorm yesterday, last year, which I can verify. These reports are all downloadable, and like I mentioned before, you can also access them through an API. So this can go directly into either a ratings engine or your underwriting process. All right, I'm going to go back to the main dashboard. I just want to talk a second about these internal notifications. Every single user of Opterrix can come in, actually generate their own customized notifications. So what matters most to them, and whether it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning, will receive notification. But I want to spend a little bit of time here just talking about what we do from a claims perspective. I'm going to go, well, first of all, let me just talk about all of the perils that you'll be able to monitor in real time. And I just want to reemphasize, all of this data is already in Opterrix. Like I mentioned, 200 plus years of weather data and technology development, number of meteorologists on the team. You don't have to stitch together contracts with other weather vendors and different platforms. Everything you need is right here. So everything from drought, river levels, snowfall, watches, warnings, wildfires. Just because Jason Gross is an Iowa guy, I'm going to go to wind gusts. It processes this all in real time, but you also have the ability of going back in time. So I'm going to pick an event that Jason went through. This is that derecho from Iowa. It's going to go back and grab that 24-hour aggregate. And what you're seeing on the map here is all wind speeds, estimated wind gusts above 40 miles an hour. So in real time, let me just check this guy. In real time, we are calculating impact. So tremendous exposure. This carrier had 115,000 homes that were impacted by this event. But you can break this down on any pivot table you want, by line, by underwriting company, by agent, by region. You've got complete flexibility. Street level insights, you can easily incorporate post-event imagery. But this is what I really want to show off. I had mentioned the ability to do predictive claims modeling. So right now it's taking this output, this wind data, and feeding a machine learning model and generating predictions. So if I zoom in like Cedar Rapids, even though the biggest wind speeds in Cedar Rapids were actually west of town, the honeycomb doesn't really start showing up until you move into Cedar Rapids, and that's because of the underlying exposure. But we're predicting in this case, 12 homes in this region based on the underlying exposure are going to file a claim. Like, we don't necessarily know which homes they are, but based on past information, we believe, of a particular percentage of underlying exposure. So like I said before, great for loss reserving, great for identifying how many adjusters or how many resources you're going to need on site. And then lastly, I'll just say we can take all of this information that you've seen here and turn it inside out. So in this case, this is a portal in which you can build either fully automated or ad hoc communications to your policyholders. So I can come in here, select regions. I can let the underlying data like wind data, hail data actually identify the geography. And we can either manually establish a message here or pull from an archive of already pre-generated messages. A lot of times marketing teams really want to control the message and don't necessarily want someone like Ben Zimmerman typing language to their policyholders, but we can easily just pull from existing creative to be sent out. So the system does way more than what I can pack into 25 minutes. If anything here struck a chord with you, would certainly love the opportunity to share more details of what we're building, how our customers are using the platform. And with that, I'll throw it back to Jason.
I tell you, I've seen a demo before, and each time I do, I'm more and more impressed with some of the functionality that you have been able to build into it. We do have a couple questions from our audience, and there's still a little bit of time for maybe one more. But let me start. The first question that was submitted was when you were talking about accumulation management. And that is obviously a big topic and something that I think you addressed during the demo. But let me ask it this way, because you also said early on, you can do APIs, you can do hybrid, you can do standalone. What does the process look like to connect, a carrier's data so that you can do that level of accumulation management? What does a carrier need to be able to do to get those insights?
So there's a spectrum of ways that we can integrate with a carrier's exposure data. The easiest and the one that works for everybody is to simply get a CSV or spreadsheet. The platform is designed where you literally hit upload and go. So even, we've had some carriers that are like, we're going through a data transformation. We know this is useful, but we can't get to it yet. And I'm saying, look, even the oldest core systems on Earth can export data. So that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is like a deep integration with a core system in which, we're getting real-time updates through like socket services. So if you can produce a CSV or a spreadsheet of your PIF, I can have you up and running in an account in Opterrix in about 15 minutes.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks, Ben. Not surprising. You can't go to any event or really a discussion in the industry right now without talking about things like digital transformation, core systems, of course, workforce, talent challenges, and I'd say the third one is climate change.
Absolutely.
So we did have a question from the audience. As a meteorologist, how do you think insurers should be thinking about climate change, its impact on the industry, and not just as a meteorologist? I'd also add to that, how is Opterrix helping the industry think through those challenges?
Yeah, great question. So, as a meteorologist, I think climate change or changing weather patterns is going to be the number one concern especially for property carriers. It is evident in the data, and I'll tell you, I was a bit of a skeptic back in the early 2000s, but it is evident in the data that the frequency and severity of extreme weather events is increasing. And language matters. I'm not saying that the frequency of severe weather is increasing, because there's actually indication that the frequency of hailstorms hasn't increased. When you look at climate models, you can argue that hail won't get bigger. So there's two sides to the story, but one thing that is evident is that the frequency and severity of extreme weather events is definitely increasing. And as a carrier, if you're just looking, at the last 40 years worth of weather data to build products to set pricing, there's a high probability that you're going to have some hard days ahead. So really, to answer your question and why we built Opterrix the way we did, the first thing you need to be able to do is measure where you're at. So we built a platform that allows you to import everything. And I want to reiterate, this isn't just policy data. You can upload all your claims data. You can upload sales and marketing data. We've built the platform to really work like a spatial spreadsheet. You can literally visualize your combined ratio. The next set of tools that are going to be incredibly important is anything that provides sensitivity analysis. So our big push in 2022 and 2023 is the incorporation of climate modeling as a financial tool to evaluate your recent past and understand what the next 5 to 10 years could look like to help you really start putting together a strategy in the event that you need to reshape your portfolio, how exactly to do that.
Well, Ben, not surprising, 25 minutes with you went lightning fast, so to speak, pun intended. But I do want to encourage our audience to connect with Ben and Opterrix. You can do that directly. You can absolutely do it through our sponsor showcase. And we're almost through the end of the day, or what a great day it's been. We will be back in about 5 minutes for GuideWire and Hazard Hub. So be sure to click back to the timeline button, and we'll see you all soon. And thank you again, Ben.
Thank you, Jason.